Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and or their affiliate and supported ministries and or nonprofits. He's here today. He's talking to two different people. He's got a whole bunch of facts he's going to throw your way. It's that crazy, that kooky Johnny Rooster. Take it away.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's still Friday. We're still here at Axe Media Group in Springfield, Missouri. I'm your host, Johnny Rooster. This is The Morning Mouth. On The Morning Mouth, we specialize in presenting things to you that you don't normally see or hear anywhere else. And today is no exception. I am excited to present to you a Constitution scholar, and I've already got a few people excited about this, and some people kind of riled about it, Matt. It's amazing because not everybody understands what's going on with the Electoral College and what's going on with the presidential election. So on the line, I have Stephon Rudd, and he lives out in RUDD. Isn't that right, Stephon? Say hello.
Yes, sir.
Stephon lives out in West Virginia now. He's from Maryland. So Stephon is Stephon. Yes. He's the constitutional scholar, and I found his website at DEmerge, DEEMERGE.com to be very informative. Stephon, tell us a little about how you got involved in the constitutional end of things and why this topic is so important, and most people in the media are not promoting what you're talking about.
Well, the first thing that hit me about President Trump was that he didn't follow a lot of federal laws when he was in office, and that kind of intrigued me because most presidents they follow the rule of law as a federal law rather in each state and whatever. And Trump was following something else, and I couldn't figure out what he was doing because it didn't make sense to me. So I started studying the Constitution, and I realized that everything that Trump was doing, even the deregulations and every law that he passed, he was concentrating on the constitutional aspect of the laws, comparing the laws with the Constitution to see if it violated any of our rights, the freedom of speech, the freedom of whatever.
How did you pick up on that? You're saying President Trump was following constitutional law, not federal law. What is the difference? Or what are some things that people can understand?
Right. Well, some federal laws, a lot of federal laws actually, they actually violate the Constitution on the surface.
Wow.
Like, for example, in terms of election itself, the same-day clause in the Constitution tells us that we cannot have more than one day for elections. So we have several days. We have early voting, and then we have this year we had the mail-in voting, which certain states allowed people to submit their ballots, and they could arrive days later, and then that would still count as they would count the vote on a day after or whatever. They were counting votes after the election day was over, so that violated the terms or violated that already, and that's one example. We can go on about different laws and Obamacare and different things like that, but that's how I figured it out.
So you have figured out that President Trump was following constitutional law, not necessarily federal law.
Yeah, and then when you look at his, as a sidebar, look at his judges, the ones that he appointed over 1,000 judges. Mm-hmm. And each one of them were right, obviously they were right-leaning, but they supported the Constitution in every one of their decisions in the past. And you get the idea that he was setting up something for something else, like he was setting up these judges for a reason, setting up certain people in different areas, even in government, that agreed with the conservative side of the true conservative side of being a Republican. So we have people out there that are rhinos.
If you are listening and you're just tuning in, folks, this is Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster. You're listening to Axe Media Group. We're talking to Stephon Rudd. He's a constitutional theory expert. Tell us, Stephon, why is federal law subservient or underneath the authority of constitutional law?
Well, the Constitution is permanent. Okay, you can amend it, but it requires a lot of key factors to amend anything in that bill. But it's like the backbone of the country. So every law that is passed beyond that, it has to go along with that document. Otherwise, it's illegal. And the sad part is we have so many laws out there today that are illegal that no one knows what's illegal anymore. They don't even know what laws are violating our rights. Like, for example, quickly, the Obamacare thing, that thing, when they tax us for not having Obamacare or ACA, that's a federal violation, or rather of our rights. You can't make me get something and then fine me for not having it.
Right.
But that's what they've done. So this is one example. But yeah, the Constitution overrides every federal law on the books.
Yes.
And this is important because when you get to the election laws, they want to end the election on December 14th, when the states certified the election. Well, that's not how it is defined in the Constitution. If you read it, it says that and the date that was set by Congress or whatever, or by the Constitution, January 20th is the final day to be, I guess, to challenge the election.
Okay.
So, technically speaking, you're not really certified as the president-elect until the 20th of January.
Well, Jay Cobb,
the media is telling us that.
Jay Cobb has joined us in the studio, and he is also very interested in constitutional law. And to say the least, you have a lot more on your website than what we are seeing in the media. In fact, Stephon, you have blasted Facebook with the truth as you see it, and that truth is being deleted, taken down. And you are almost at war with the mainstream media. Is that correct?
Yeah, on a smaller scale, yes. And I've had a few accounts totally get banned, permanently banned, and all I was doing was discussing the same thing I'm talking about now. Every time the news would hit with a new angle or a new blow to the Trump administration, I would basically go online and then post an article about rather the truth of what's really going on. And they would just take it down. They would delete it. They would put stuff on there to say that it was false.
Yes.
And what have you.
So we're seeing some censorship going on. Jay, is there a way to put his website on the screen? Can we get that on there at some point? And go ahead, Stephon. I was just going to say,
sure.
So what is your real message now about the electoral process? People are saying, well, they're saying Joe Biden is president-elect. What do we do?
Mm-hmm. Well, right now we have to wait for Trump to finish. He's waiting for a report from head of DNI Ratcliffe, where he was investigating the election interference with foreign nationals for really over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't announced, but what happened was after the midterms of 2016 or around that time, on 2018, around that time, Trump got. He had his people obviously looking at that election, and he found fraud. And so he immediately wrote the 2018 EO that gives them the right to confiscate any properties and stuff. I won't get that because that's a long thing by itself. But he can confiscate any properties of companies that have colluded with the foreign nationals in the election, and he can take over, media companies if he wants to. So he wrote that EO after seeing what was going on in the midterms. So Richard Grenell, he was the DNI before Ratcliffe, and he also was monitoring. He saw the stats after the 2016 elections, and then he gave then they put things in place for midterms, and they caught them doing more fraudulent stuff then, and now. To get it up to speed here, Ratcliffe has all of the information. He has Grenell's information, and he has his new information and the information that he received by monitoring this election. So what's happening is he has to deliver a report to Trump, President Trump. He might have it already. Also to the AG, to different departments, in the White House, and then Trump has to decide whether to invoke the 2018 EO and arrest people, basically. Yeah. Or what? But so we're waiting for Trump to actually get the intel. I believe he's waiting to after the holiday season is over to have less drama, I guess. I'm just assuming. I'm not in his campaign. I don't know what's going on there. But he has to get that information first, and then he can make his moves. Well, the election isn't.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Sure.
I'm pointing out something that you had put together on demerge.com, that Trump has won his way to winning the election. He had it, but then something interesting happened. There's video evidence of chosen state electors not allowed into the voting areas, some being told by the state electors are already there and couldn't enter, and that is a shenanigan by the opposition. The electors argued that this is impossible because they were the GOP's chosen electors, and still they were not allowed in.
Yeah. So basically 7 states. And at the time I wrote that, I thought it was only 3 states. But then later on, I realized there was 7 states.
Wow.
Now, the GOP, the state legislatures, they had the majority of the House, or the majority of the state, in 7 out of 8 swing states. They were Nevada, Arizona, I believe it was New Mexico as well, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, and PA.
Wow.
So all these states here, we had a state majority for the Republican side of whatever. So they're the ones that choose the electors. And what happened was they had all rejected the original electors and chosen their own electors. And you can go on YouTube right now, and you can find it on YouTube because they have videos of this stuff where the guard isn't letting the GOP chosen electors into the building. And then they're saying, well, hey, this is not possible. Yeah. But the guy's saying, well, they already arrived. So, no, it's impossible because we are the chosen GOP electors.
Yeah.
So, and meanwhile, so what they did was they established their own voting area, okay, and they voted. But while they were doing that, the so-called rejected electors, they were actually on live TV streaming their votes. So this is how fake news works. And fake news, they stream them voting for Biden while keeping the real electors out of the party, so that when we report, later on that, hey, there were 7 states that had GOP electors chosen by the state, they'll say, well, this is conspiracy. We already reported this thing. We already, so they beat you to the punch. They suppress you and then beat you to the punch. So that's what happened there. So what's going to end up happening is, for the first time in 60 years, since Kennedy versus Nixon, we're going to have dual electors at on January 6th. And what that means is both presidents have over 270 votes, okay? And they wanted, Congress would get the certified seal envelopes. Yeah. And then they want to open them up, and they want to debate whether or not they should keep those votes or the ones that were chosen by the GOP electors.
So this on January 6th is when this will happen.
January 6th. And
on that day, will we have a certified election?
We could.
You were talking about the Supreme Court and how that doesn't always. Yeah. The Senate can impeach a Supreme Court justice. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
for high crimes and misdemeanor.
It gets crazy. It gets a little complicated for the average people. And Stephon, I just wanted to point out, you're an African American gentleman. Does your race, ethnically, cause trouble because of your stand?
Yes.
I got to go there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredibly. As a matter of fact, I'm called more racist things by black people than I am white people, to put it bluntly. And it's amazing because it's like, wait a minute here, because I'm black, I have to support who you support. I mean, I have to vote for a Democrat because I'm black. I mean, I don't get that. So it's like kind of like having control over the black population, where if you're black, you have to vote for a Democrat, and if you don't, then you're whatever. I won't say any of the words on the radio, but there are some bad words that they use to describe me.
How do you go ahead. I was just curious because you came to these conclusions based on constitutional law, and the fact that you're a black American just makes it interesting, but most people don't listen to constitutional law because they don't understand it. And if they understood it, do you think the outcome would have been different in this election?
Yeah, I think a lot of things would be different. Well, a lot of things would be different if they will understand it, because there are even documentaries out there to get to stay on the black part for a while. There's one on Netflix called the 13th, where they try to discredit the 13th Amendment by saying that it's racist because it promotes prison, having people lose their rights in prison. But then if you read the Constitution, or read that amendment rather, the majority of that amendment focuses on the abolition of slavery.
There's somebody that just, one of our fans just chimed in, says, "I'm so sorry that happens to you, Stephon. I do admire you for your stance and platform. Thank you for all you do." There are many people that support what you're doing, but also understand the bravery that you personally have because of the stand that you take that's very unpopular with people like you, that feel like you should be like them. They put up your website, demerge.com. I found a lot of information there. If you folks haven't gone there already, please do so right after this segment. Go ahead, Stephon.
Yeah. So that's so basically, if they understood what it was about and what it meant, because the media tries to distort. And here's the problem: see, Democrats control the majority of mainstream media. It's a fact.
Yeah.
And even now, Fox sold out to Disney, so now Disney is owned by Democrats.
So it's
now
Disney.
Fox is owned by Disney,
I wondered about Fox.
Right.
I wondered what happened to them.
Yeah. So they got bought out, I think, 2 years ago by Disney, which is a Democrat company.
Yeah.
And who also owns ESPN. But that's sidebar. So the point is, the majority of the media now online is on TV and print is Democratic owned.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening here is the Democrats they don't agree with the Constitution on many counts. And if you look at the history of laws that have been passed that are illegal, it's majority of it is being passed on their side of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
This is why they want to get rid of the EC. They want to get rid of they want to have a popular vote, just a straight popular vote. They want to totally shred the First Amendment, for your freedom of speech, your gun rights, everything, because they don't like that document. They want control.
Yes.
And so the point is, when all you see is that narrative being played out on TV and is in Hollywood. Hollywood is well over 90% Democrat. If you are a Republican in Hollywood, you are thrown out.
True.
Okay, you won't get the roles.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a black Republican, you won't get anything. But they control everything. Hollywood, the TV, the papers, half the radio is and they put out their message. They own Wikipedia, they own Facebook, big tech. So any channels of influence
yes.
and education, they control it.
So
it's not hard to misunderstand this document.
So you're not going to have a voice on mainstream media, but you do have your website that's still going okay. Is there any other source that people need to check out or to find out more about you, who you are, what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm on Parler. Everything's at Stephon Rudd. I'm on Parler. I'm on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm on Mayway. It's MEWE at Stephon Rudd. I'm also at Facebook. You can put in facebook.com/Stephon Rudd. I have a group on Facebook that we get into deep stuff often, every day. Then also you can look me up on Gap, DAB Gap.
So look up that name,
Rudd.
Stephon Rudd, and then Jay Cobb's in the studio. He's got a question.
Can all of those things be found on demerge.com?
Is your website demerge.com? Does it have links to any other ways to find you, or can it?
I didn't put up there yet, but I'm going to do that.
He's
today,
developing that site and he's getting that information on there. I think a one-stop shop would be good, Stephon. Just letting you know that there are many ways to reach you, but if you had that landing page at demerge.com, that's what's on our screen. I believe that would be helpful as well. You've got a lot of support out here, and obviously you have a lot of you've got a lot of opposition as well. You have a few minutes left, 5 minutes to be exact for this segment. So I want to get the real message out there. What's the hope that people can have about our electoral process, regardless of how they feel? Let's say they prefer Joe Biden. Doesn't matter. Do you prefer something that's illegal and fraudulent? No. So how do we get clarity on this election and in the future?
Well, we have to get this right because if we let this continue, that doesn't matter who's, because there's also people on the GOP side that's also contributing to the fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just Democrats itself. There are we call them rhinos that are Republicans, and they can participate in the same thing. They run media companies, they run big tech, whatever. So we want to get this right because if we allow cheating to happen, then is our vote really counting?
Mm-hmm.
And I will argue that the last maybe 20 years we haven't had an election that was real. And they're getting better and better at it. Now this year we have China involved with this thing, and this is all going to come out soon, I believe, in a report by Ratcliffe. It's going to come out soon, and we have China involved, and without saying too much, China is trying to. This is kind of like a mini war with China. They want to take over our country and to be the world power. So if we allow this to happen, and people who are like Joe Biden and his son, they are in bed with China. Pelosi is in bed with China. Mitch McConnell is in bed with China, and he's Republican. We have to stop this now because if we don't, then we're going to be speaking Chinese in this country, and it's not going to be a good thing for us. We want to have our freedoms. We want to have our gun rights for protection, to keep we have this. This is our right. We want to be able to speak freely and not be silenced, because social media only silences one side of the party or one side of the argument.
Yes.
They don't stop the pedophiles from posting stuff or the whatever. They can do what they want to do, but if you're a Republican and you post truth, they silence you, and it's amazing to me. We don't want to live in a government where we don't have any control over our own lives.
Right.
The shutdowns, the lockdowns that they're calling science.
I want to ask our viewers.
I want to
ask our viewers: do you approve of the way things are going now, or do you want to see clarity on this electoral process? And it's fun and it's simple. You guys don't have to be quiet all the time. You can actually join in and say, yes, this is what I think, because we want to hear from you also. We're not just talking to the air. Stephon and I happen to be interested, and Jay and everybody is interested in the truth, and also that the truth has to be told so that people can take action, and then there's results, not just backstabbing, naysaying, and doom and gloom. Give us some hope. We have 2 minutes left. What is our hope for the future?
Well, I will say this here: if you are a conservative, Trump's going to win the election regardless, because he has a number of cards that he can play, that he will play, I believe, and some of them are, when we get to the January 6th. Mike Pence is the tiebreaker. He's the one that's going to decide which in the Senate, rather, which electors to keep. And Mike Pence, if he does his job correctly, then we're going to have the government restored. There might be some unrest, but it'll be settled, I believe, quickly. And then we can start to establish a better election process, maybe using a verified ID. I believe that this is going to be the starting point for America getting back to its roots, where we are united. I think Trump is uniting everyone. Honestly, the ones who don't like him, they're using ridiculous reasons why he's a divider. Trump is trying to bring us back to the rule of law, the Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and we can't get there if we don't have a true election.
That's amazing.
So
yes.
I believe that we're going to be there. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Stephon Rudd is out in West Virginia, a black American who's standing up for patriotism, standing up for the Constitution of the United States of America. My name is Johnny Rooster. I'm your host. It's The Morning Mouth. You're listening to us here on Axe Media Group, where you hear things on this show that you don't normally hear anywhere else. Thank you, Stephon. We're going to ask you to just say thanks again. Anything else you want to say before we say farewell?
Nope, that is all. Thank you.
Well, thanks again, and we appreciate you very much. You can find him at demerge.com. It's on the screen. And just make sure that when you're following these things in the news, that they're not always pointing you to the direction that you need to go. They're doing this for emotional reasons to sell headlines. We're talking about the United States Constitution. It will prevail. God bless you, Stephon, and God bless America.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get ready for our next guest here. The next guest we have, her name is Theresa, and she has a business about decluttering. So we're going to regroup and refocus here, talking about something a little different. Good morning, Theresa.
Good morning,
And
Johnny.
I don't know, are we on already with Theresa? And so we're talking to, first we're talking about the political landscape. Now we're talking about the cluttering landscape. It's a totally different environment. It could feel the same in some ways. People feel like they're overwhelmed politically. Perhaps they're overwhelmed with their personal space.
Exactly.
And I have not met you till this moment, so I wanted to say thank you for coming alongside and being here. Theresa, tell us a little about you. And I'm looking here at the screen. Looks like we're going to transition into your part of the thing. But if you're watching now and you see another name on the bottom of the screen, that's our first guest, Stephon Rudd. Make sure you check him out at demerge.com. He was talking about the Constitution and how it plays out in the electoral process. But now we're shifting gears on the Johnny Rooster Morning Mouth and talking to Theresa, who has a declutter and organizing business right in the Springfield, Missouri area. So I'm eager to hear about that. It says about you've been organizing for over 24 years, and I have been cluttering for over 55 years. So you're not right there with me yet on your experience, but you're trying to undo what I've been doing. I'll give you an idea of what my house looks like. Usually when company comes over, everything I don't want them to see is in my bedroom. And then I close the door, and it's a lot easier. And then when everybody leaves, I take the things out that I don't want in my way, and they go back to their corners, like they're in the boxing ring. They're back in their corner.
That is very typical with our society. We are very busy people. We like to gather things. And a lot of families and older people, they end up with all this stuff that they really don't need. They don't want, but they don't know what to do with it. They get frustrated, overwhelmed, and so they look for someone to help them get organized. So they call me, and I will do a consultation for them, sit down with them, and see what they got going on and see how I can help them.
Laura Hawley says, Theresa is great. You already have a fan talking about you. So
I love Laura.
Bring in your fan club.
She's great.
I like to have quality people on my show so that I can elevate a little bit beyond my own nuisance. And this is really good to have you here. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for having me. Like you said, I've been organizing for a long time. And I started my business when I lived in Oregon. I moved to Springfield in 2010, and I didn't think I knew enough people to get my organizing business going. But with the grace of God and some direction from Him that was a little uncomfortable, but when you get out of your comfort zone, sometimes that's really when you blossom. So I started my organizing business in Springfield in 2010. And it really just took off. There's such a need out there for compassion and love for people.
Yeah.
And this has become my ministry. When I work with someone, I minister to them. I meet them where they're at, and I help them to get organized, basically. But it's not only getting organized with the cluttery stuff. Sometimes it can be the emotional stuff. And
emotional clutter.
I can see that. So I just I love all people wherever they're at. I just love on them and help them. I have some clients here in Springfield that I've been working for since like 2011. I go back once a month. Heck, some of them I go back once a week. And just to help them out with the chaos of everyday life.
Does it have a mindset attached to it? Is that why they aren't getting rid of things that are in their own way? Is that a mindset?
It is a mindset. Some of the folks that I work
And
with...
is it curable?
Well, here's the deal.
Tell me more, psychologist.
One, I have worked with hoarders, but I will only work with a hoarder.
That's a different show.
Right. If they are under the care of a counselor, because I can help them with the physical part, I can't help them with the emotional part. I'm not a counselor, although I am great at listening. My number one key, so, a lot of people ask me, what's the number one key to staying organized? And that is, if you bring something into your space, you have to let something go. And I set up that system for me where I have like a garbage can in my garage,
Yeah.
lined with a bag. And even though garbage isn't going to go in there, it's going to be that stuff that isn't garbage, but I'm wanting to let go. So, for example, if I buy a candle or if someone gives me a candle goes out.
Ah.
If I buy a new set of towels, guess what? Towels have to go out.
My wife does that with her wardrobe. She
There you
gets
go. That is
something,
perfect.
She
That is
moves the other thing out.
exactly- yeah.
I'm going to tell my cousin won't be named, but she doesn't, and she has a lot of clothes.
Yes, yes. No,
Her curtain rod's bowing like the
Yeah.
Superman trying to lift it up, and it's hanging down on the
right.
ends.
Yep. Been there.
Love you, cuz.
I have seen. I've seen that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things with my business that I offer is that anything you want to release, I will take out of your home if it will fit into my vehicle. And I will take it and donate it to the Harmony House.
Oh,
It
yes.
is a shelter
We
here.
had
in
Harmony House on the show here a few weeks ago.
Perfect. It's a shelter for abused women and children. So they're always needing things. Also, I have donated to Habitat for Humanity on
Yes,
Scenic.
yes.
If it's kind of guy stuff, tool stuff, if I'm helping someone declutter and organize a garage, a lot of that stuff will
See, you're
go
helping
over.
other people by getting rid of the clutter.
There you go.
That's you.
There you
That's
go.
me. I'm talking to people out there and to myself at the same time, preaching to my own choir.
Gotcha.
Like, I understand. I was telling you guys earlier, Theresa showed up and I confessed that when company comes and I don't want them to see something in my house, I move it to my bedroom, close the door, then I move it back out to its secret hiding places, which aren't so secret. And help me understand how I can stop doing that. And you're saying you get rid of something every time you bring something new in.
Again, if you bring in a new pair of shoes, a pair of shoes have to go out.
Man.
It's this easy. It flows. It's easy, and
I can't keep my old friends around, huh?
And-
My old dirty, nasty shoes. I've got some in the garage right now, don't I? And my wife's in the background. She's probably going to agree. So, anyway, so you're getting rid of something every time something new comes in.
yes, in our perfect world, that is how we should function.
And you're able to do that, correct?
I totally
You for
totally
real
do that. I do not. I don't ask my clients to do anything that I'm not already doing.
It's that simple.
It is that simple. Also, like I'd say 50% of my clients have issues with paperwork.
Yeah,
You know,
too
that,
much paper.
that mail comes in,
yeah.
you go to, whatever, people are always handing you a piece of paper, and it accumulates. So I have set up a system for that also.
Tell me about the paper system, if you don't mind.
Okay, for one, when you get your mail out of the mailbox,
Yeah.
I do that when I go out through my garage to do that.
Yeah, me
okay?
too, me
But
too.
I have a garbage right there
Yeah.
by the steps coming back into my house. So as I'm walking back into my house, I'm looking at
Yeah.
that mail. It doesn't even come into my house.
Screening your mail.
Unless it is something, a bill or
I was
something
going
I
to say
have to pay.
I want to throw my bills away, but you're saying no. Get rid of that. That's an electric bill.
So then on my desk, for a long time, I struggled with, before I got this system in place for myself, I struggled with that mound of paperwork on my desk. And then I thought, there's got to be a system to this. So it took some self-doing, but I would not allow myself to go have fun on Saturday mornings unless my desk was cleared off.
Reward system, rewards.
There you go. And it took a few weeks for me to actually get it done, but now the system is so easy, and my filing system is so easy, especially
Because you got it out of the way.
Yeah. Yep.
But you just file it all in a big pile?
No.
Originally?
No.
Or what was-
Originally,
yeah,
originally,
you just
yeah. There would
kept
just be
laying things down
a big stack there,
Yeah.
and the things would never get to the file.
We're always going to get to it sometime.
Yep, exactly. But now I have a system put in place.
Yeah.
When tax season comes, it's very easy for me. I just go in and grab those files with the with my receipts, anything I need for my taxes. It doesn't take me, sleepless nights and long nights to go through all that paperwork. It's already right there. I just go, and I've done this for clients too. I set this system up, and then right before their taxes, they will have me come over and they don't know where it is because I do it all for them.
Oh.
I will go in and I will pull
You've got a lot of power.
I will go in and pull those files out, hand them to them, and I say, okay, this is
Here's
what you take to your accountant. Boom, they're done.
So again, is that really a mindset that I can't get? Can everyone change the way they think to the point where they
Absolutely.
can? Yeah,
Yes.
they really can. There is hope for everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
We're not helplessly
No.
trapped in clutter.
No, absolutely no. We are not trapped in
Because
clutter.
I would like to say this for certain members of my family, including myself, but there are certain
Right.
others that have even more of an issue.
Sure.
And I want to make it right.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Because I want to throw their stuff out.
Oh, good luck with that.
I know.
Because when I go in, again, I meet that
It doesn't
person.
work like that.
No, it
Nobody wants somebody throwing their stuff away.
It doesn't.
When you're not home, I'm going to. But
Right.
it doesn't work like that.
No. So when I work with someone, I meet them where they're at. I have, people from hoarders to people who life just happened to them. Something major in their life happened, and it kind of set them. They lost track of. They lost their systems basically for one reason or another, and I just go in, meet them where they're at, chat with them. By talking to someone for an hour or two, I can see how their brain works, and I can help them set up those systems according to their personality and how they're functioning already.
So, folks, if you're tuning in, you're watching Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster, but we're talking to Theresa Volesky about how to declutter. If you're interested, how can they reach you? What's a good way for people to contact you? They're watching, listening, they want to know more.
Okay, so one thing, I can be organized, but I am not a techie person. I do not have a website. I am old school, so if you want to...
Get your pencil and paper, boys and girls.
There we go. Give me a call at 503-970-2930, and you can text me at that also. Or you can go to Theresa's Declutter and Organizing. I do have a Facebook that I periodically check.
But you do have the phone number on the screen, I see there, so that's
Yep.
great.
And you can also go to t.volesky@yahoo.com and reach out to me that way.
Theresa, you are a person that learned how to replace things, get rid of things as you replace them. That's the simple way to say it.
Yep, this is my God-given talent, and I love to help people, and especially people who are overwhelmed, frustrated, and they think there's no hope. Guess what? There is hope. They just need a little bit of support.
Is there any part of your story that would relate to this process and how to help people? Like how you came from more clutter to less? Was there a certain point in your life that triggered that?
What? God made me this way. But this is my gift. But then on the other hand of that, I have some, not so cool gifts that I have to reach out for help with, eating and exercise. I am not great at that. So I have to hire a trainer for my exercise. And do you see where I'm going with that?
Are all disciplines back to the way you think? I recently completed a book on how you talk to yourself. And it made a difference for me. It made a difference for Jay. We're talking to ourselves in a different way now.
Yeah.
But it isn't all just positive affirmations. It's the belief behind it.
Right.
Because you can get motivated for 5 minutes every time you hear a speaker.
Absolutely.
And then your motivation isn't there if you don't believe it.
Yeah.
For yourself.
And part of that is figure out where you want to go, like even with the clutter, where do you want to be? And we implement little steps. And maybe a little mantra or a little prayer or something asking for help, getting us to be focused. And then every day just take a step towards that. I don't ever want to make anybody perfect because nobody's perfect.
And I'm reading a book. Yeah, go ahead.
But we can become better. So when I'm helping someone organize, I just want to help them be as good as they want to be.
I like that, Theresa. I'm reading a book it's called Finish, and it's about perfectionism gets in the way.
Ooh, yep.
If you don't finish something,
Yes.
because you think you have to have it perfect.
Right,
I
correct.
finished writing a novel, but it wasn't perfect. And I laughed today about how imperfect it is, but it's finished, and people can read it. They couldn't have read it if I didn't finish.
Right.
And why did I write it if they weren't
Exactly.
going to read?
Yeah.
But you have the idea that you don't have to let perfectionism get in the way. It's not about being a perfect person.
Nope.
average people can do these things.
Absolutely. And part of what I offer to people is called, I can get them organized, but to keep them organized is a little bit harder because you have to set up a maintenance system.
Okay.
So like some people, we will take every week, I will go there and we will do one room at a time. And
like a car, you're supposed to change the oil every
there you go.
50,000 miles,
Perfect.
right?
Yep.
Okay. You're supposed to change the oil more regularly. And so maintenance on a car is understood. Maintenance on clutter, organization, is also important.
Yeah. So some people will have me come back once every 6 months just to kind of help them get back on track. Other people, it's a little bit more often
Are
than
they
that.
relying on you like a housekeeper, or do they get it and start making the changes?
They get it and they start making the changes.
That's good.
The changes, yeah.
You're not a
Yep.
maid.
No. I do not. I don't do windows. That's what I tease everybody. I don't do windows.
You don't want a house cleaning service. You want to
No,
declutter.
no.
So you're calling it declutter and organizing. It's just very straightforward.
Yes, a lot of people will have me come in and help them declutter and organize. Then they hire a housekeeper
to maintain.
to kind of come in. Yeah. Yep.
Which that's okay.
That is okay.
You don't have to be perfect.
No. Nope. We all have our own gifts, and what I've figured
We all
out.
have sinned and fallen short of
There
the
we
clutter
go.
standard. It is 9:45. We have 5 minutes, a little less than 5. I'd like you to make sure that you're saying everything you want people to hear. And is there anything, because I don't want just to say the same things over and again. Yes, we're talking about decluttering. What else can we tell
Right. My heart really goes out to the people who've lost a loved one.
Oh.
I mean, this kind of gets a little bit serious, but it's part of life. And no one should have to do that alone. They just shouldn't. I don't care how old they are. They should not have to go through their loved one stuff alone. And what I have noticed of my 20-some years of doing this is, the family will come in for the celebration of life or the funeral, and then boom, they're gone. And that person is left with that stuff. And my heart just so goes out to those people. Because then they're left with, what do I keep? What don't I keep? The guilt that goes with that. Oh my gosh, if I get rid of this, they somehow feel like they're discarding those memories.
Ironically, or actually by divine appointment, Theresa, you're sitting in a room with 4 other people that have gone through a personal family loss in the last few weeks.
Wow.
I'm tearing up.
I'm sorry to hear
Seriously,
that.
my sister's passed.
Yep.
Matt's dad. Things have happened in our worlds. So we totally are listening to what you have to say.
Yeah.
Other people are listening too.
Yep.
Thank you for speaking to that. Yeah.
It's good to keep some of that stuff. And what I have always told people in this area is that keep the stuff that makes you happy. Mm-hmm. If it's, I don't know, that cookie jar that grandma passed on to you, if that makes you happy,
sure,
keep it. If there's some stuff that doesn't make, that it's more like it's cluttering up your space and it's playing havoc with your systems and your world, then that's the stuff to kind of let go. Let somebody else live on that stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's such a huge need out there. There's so many people that, are homeless. They need some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't stress enough to only keep the stuff that makes you happy.
That's right.
That makes you smile.
My wife likes to watch that Texas show with all these what are they, storage units, and people going through the storage units. It's like it is true. People store things they don't need.
Yes.
Some of them are treasures, and most of them aren't.
Correct. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
Decide the wisdom to know what to do, when, and how. And there are other places for people to love that stuff too.
Yes, and that really
You're
helps.
giving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when I'm working with a client, I'll remind them of that. Is that there's other people out there that would just love to have this stuff, and once they feel like, okay, this stuff isn't just going to be put into a landfill.
Yes. My mom's big on that. She says, I don't want you to throw it away.
Yeah,
Give it
yes.
away. Yeah, okay. It's important.
I would probably say about 80% of the things when I'm helping with a client, we either recycle it or we let somebody else love on it.
Yeah, don't talk to me. I'm the guy that throws everything on the burn pile. It's like, don't talk to people like me.
Right.
Get it to the people that want to use it.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Now, we have 60 seconds. What else do you want to say?
I just want to give encouragement to people out there to be loving and to just meet people where they're at, no matter what age they are, no matter what race they are. We just need so much more love and compassion out there.
Amen.
You know, everybody has work to do, and if we can all just be a little bit more loving and compassion, this world would be such a much better place.
Amen to that. On that note, we're talking to Theresa Volesky. You can reach out to her at 503-970-2930. The reason it's the out of the area code is because she moved here from Oregon and she liked her phone number.
Yeah,
Right?
I still have clients back
That's
there,
right.
so I will fly back there periodically, get all my clients taken care of, visit family, and then I fly back here.
Her business is DeClutter and organizing. If you need some of that or would like some of that, know someone who does, reach out to Theresa. And we do thank you for being on the Morning Mouth on Axe Media Group this morning.
Awesome. Thank you for having
Thank
me,
you
Johnny.
so much.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Coming up next, we have Dr. Paul Collins with the Happy Hour on Axe Media Group. He's the man who started it all, so you might want to stay tuned and check that out. You're watching Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster. Thanks again for watching. If you haven't checked out the earlier guest, it's Stephon Rudd. Check him out. Check out Theresa. We have wonderful folks giving you wonderful things you don't always hear. Until next time, this is your host, Johnny Rooster, on the Morning Mouth.